everybody and welcome to this, part number 2 of my
Crash Course in the Blues, yay!
Make sure you go back and watch part 1 if you haven't already, because if you're a complete beginner, I'm going to be talking about stuff that I did in part 1 and you may not know what I'm going on about, so make sure you go back and watch that. But if you've already watched it, then welcome, we're going to move on. And I'm just going to move straight on and pick up exactly where I left off in part numero 1. Last time we met, we were looking at this. Just a quick reminder there of the 12-bar blues, so you know the pattern, I'm not going to go through that. You already saw that video. But what I am going to do is I'm going to quickly go over how I demonstrated it at the end of the video. Because what I did was I very quickly played the chord progression, but I did some downstrokes and upstrokes. And the reason I did that, I said in that video that it was to create more, to make it more musical or to give it more movement, or I can't remember exactly how I worded it. But when you compare it to just doing downstrokes, you know, then we get this. Then it just sounds better. Adding those upstrokes definitely sounds better. So here's what's going on. Right, so don't panic. Yes, there is a little bit of music notation here, but that is as extensive into music notation as I'm gonna get in this video. What you're looking at, you can see the numbers 1, 2, 3 and 4. They're the beats. Remember beats? I was talking about beats in video number 1. And I said that there are 4 beats in each bar in this piece of music. What I've done is I've drawn 4 beats. And underneath those beats, I've drawn what are known as quavers. Sometimes music theory can be intimidating, especially to self-taught musicians. This is really easy stuff because for every pair of quavers that you see, so you can see that there's a dot and then they join together and then there's another dot, that is 1 pair. So there are 4 pairs you can see. For every pair of quavers that you see, you're going to do a down followed by an up. So whereas before we would go for an A chord, for example, if we're using that A5 shape, remember that from part 1. That one. You'll remember that for every chord that we saw, we just did 4 strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And it gets the job done. And I was saying that, you know, if a drummer is doing all the drum fills and someone's singing and the bass player's rocking away with some arpeggios and some nice underlying harmony, that will sound good. Not only will it get the job done, but that will power on through. You don't have to do anything special with blues. That is the beauty of blues. And the idea is that you will build on that and you'll get better and more confident doing it, and then you can add some fancy stuff. But if you just want the crash course, stick with what you were doing in video number 1. But what we're doing now is we're having a look at how to make it a bit more special, just sound better. And that's all I'm doing, I'm just doing upstrokes. For every single time that I see the chord, I'm going to do the rhythm fatter than a caterpillar. There you go, that is me doing it with no emphasis on any note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's how I'm reading those quavers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and when I said there that I was playing those without any emphasis, another word that I could have used is an accent. Because on guitar and any other instrument, any musician, if we put emphasis or stress on one note in particular, we get what is referred to as an accent. And I'm going to accent beat number 2 and beat number 4. Everything else is going to be the same, but it's going to go like this. It's going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and what that's going to do is it's going to reinforce what the drummer's doing. The drummer probably is going to be playing dum dum cha da dum dum cha da dum dum cha. The dum is the bass drum, the cha is the snare drum. Dum dum cha da dum dum cha. And I'm on a different instrument, so I can't play that. But what I can do is I can reinforce that rhythm on beats 2 and 4. So I could be playing, instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I can switch that to just realised there that I was doing all downstrokes. You can do all downstrokes, doesn't matter. Let's hear what it would sound like with a mix of down and up. In fact, I will quickly demonstrate it now, just up to speed. It was a little bit slow there, so here it is up to speed. 2, 3, 4. Imagine that drummer. There you go. A little bit of accenting goes a long way. We can play quite a pedestrian and that will groove along and it will sound good, but as soon as you start adding some it just helps the groove. Now if you can just cast your mind back to part 1 in this series, you'll remember that I added what I referred to then as the 6th in each chord. I didn't go into detail on the music theory because that's not what this video is about, or this series of videos is about. But it was a simple case of adding your 3rd finger 2 frets away for every chord, and it was alternating like this one. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Let's do that. Let's see what happens if we add the quaver rhythm with accenting for extra grooviness with this alternating 6th pattern. It's going to sound well good. Instant status quo, instant ZZ Top, instant blues. It gives that real driving. Just sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, but that strictly isn't how I was playing it in my demonstration at the end of part 1. Because what I was doing is known as a shuffle. Now a shuffle is a type of dance which I'm very good at. But in music, let's pop up those quavers again. Thus far, we've been playing those. I like saying the word thus. It makes me sound clever. Thus far, we have been looking at straight quavers, where you would count those as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and bum bum cha da dum dum cha. But you may have heard a blues that sounds like this: dum da cha da dum da cha da dum ba dum da dum da dum da dum da cha da dum da cha da dum da cha. This is known as a shuffle. We're going to shuffle these quavers. And a shuffle is very closely related to a swing. It depends what your opinion on a swing is. Different people will define a swing differently. Some people think it's it's like a kind of triplet rhythm. Others think it's based more on feel. Again, this isn't a video on that. We're not going too in depth. I'm just going to describe this as a shuffle. And the way that I like to describe a shuffle is we are no longer walking. We're not going 1 and 2 and 3. We're skipping 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And think of a child skipping and da, 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 da. Think of Humpty Dumpty. If you say Humpty Dumpty to yourself, you're speaking in shuffle. Humpty Dumpty, hump da dump da 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 da. Translated on the guitar there, you can hear it. Let's hear that with some accents. I'm going to accent beat 2 and beat 4 to match that snare drum of that drummer. We want to carry that groove along. We don't just want to play along now. We're getting better. We want to carry the groove along. I'll demonstrate this now in full because I'm going to play that rhythm. I'm going to play the shuffle rhythm. I'm going to accent beats 2 and 4. And I'm also going to add those sixths to the chord, those alternating sixths, and it's going to transform it yet again from to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. there we go, just a few simple things to your rhythm and the way that you think about playing with those accents or emphases will go a long way into making you sound like you've bumped up a little bit of a level. And the second main thing that we're going to have a look at in this part 2 is to do with harmony. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to introduce a new little bit of terminology for us before we continue any further. Because if I said that the blues is built up on chords 1, 4 and 5, that may not mean anything to you. Other musicians may refer to those chords in that way. So I think it's important early on to understand what they mean by chords 1, 4 and 5. So without any further ado, I'm going to click my fingers. Now look at that, I've written the A major scale across the screen. We've got A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, then back to A. What happens now, if I click my fingers again, you'll see that I've numbered those notes. Let's have a look at what number 1 is. It's an A. You can see where this is going, I'm sure. You're a clever person. I can see you through the screen. You look like a smart, clever person. Because when we have a look over there at where the number 4 is, it says D. It says D, doesn't it? So chord number 4 is D. And then chord number 5, you guessed it, yes, is E. This isn't a lesson in harmony or how to build chords, so it is very brief, but just so you get a bit of an idea of where that comes from, people saying chords 1, 4 and 5, is that if you build a chord off the first note of A major, the 4th note of A major and the 5th note of A major, you will get the chords A, D and E. Now with that in mind, let's bring up that chord progression yet again, and I'm going to play it. I'm not going to do anything fancy, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to shout out the chord numbers. Chord 1, 1, 1, 1. I'm on the second line now. Previously I would have referred to this as D, but this is chord 4. 4. Back to chord 1. Chord 5. Chord 4. Back to chord 1. Sometimes I will describe music in the following way. A balance between tension and release. I've not come up with this term on my own. I've watched many videos, I've read many books, but I have long since forgotten where tension and release has come from. In my mind, it's just in there somewhere, and I like to use that. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because at the end of most blues chord progressions, we can do what's called a turnaround. And that's what we're going to have a look at right now. See this last chord here, it's an A, isn't it? It's chord 1. Chord 1, an A, the final chord of the piece. Let's see what happens if I switch that for chord 5. Okay, I'm gonna play the chord progression. I'm gonna do it with all the bells and whistles as well. Imagine if I left that piece hanging there. Let's play that last line again. There's tension, isn't there? You're waiting for it to start again. That is the power of tension in music. You're pushing your music forward. It's a really simple way of injecting more tension and more suspense, more excitement in a piece of music. So give that a go in your chord progression. Switch that last chord out for an E. Make sure to tell your bass player to do the same. But wait, there is more. You definitely get what you pay for in these lessons, which are free. There's more, because let's have a look at the chord progression again. You'll see that the top 4 chords, that is a lot of chord 1, a lot of A chord. Let's break that up by introducing chord 4 in bar 2, just like this. Let's hear what that top line sounds like now. 2, 3, 4. And so on. It's just a really cool way of breaking up the monotony. It's monotonous, isn't it? It's just one one chord going along. And I mean, people refer to the word monotony as a bad thing. I'm just using that word to describe one tone, one chord, monochord. It's not monotone, because these are chords. Is that right? Is that a word? I've made up a word, monochody. Monochody. Monochordy. It breaks up that monochordy. I slightly changed the rhythm there on that last turnaround chord. I think it just creates more tension. You could even go... big drum fill, big bass run. Your singer goes, whoa, yeah, 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 whatever. Just that movement, it pushes it forward. It makes you sound better. Whoa, yeah, yeah. And that's pretty much it. In fact, that's definitely it for part 2. But I really do want you to check out part number 3, because in that video, that's where we start to have a look at some lead playing. And I know that that's what gets a lot of aspiring blues guitarists excited. That is the international symbol for excitement. So definitely check out part number 3. You can also subscribe so you don't miss out. I don't know when you're watching this. You might be watching this months in the future when this video has got billions of views, obviously. But you may be watching this the day it was out. So you've got to make sure that you subscribe to my channel, because I do loads of videos like this. There are loads of videos where I just play the guitar as well and other things based around the guitar. But I have very much enjoyed myself. Stick around if you want to get to be good on the blues playing of guitar. Thank you very much. I've been Anthony Couch, and I'm going to hit my camera lens with a plectrum. I've been trying ever since I started making videos on YouTube. But today I'm feeling lucky. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe. Numero 1.